Hey guys, how's it going? Charles here with Charles Auto Spa. I have Joseph here. He runs Elixir Detailing. Episode 1 of the Charles Auto Spa Detailing podcast, but we'll cover many different topics over time. So I met Joseph last year when I started my mobile detailing business, and he's been doing it for a while. So I like to let him make an introduction, just let him tell some of his story because it's quite interesting, and I think you guys will enjoy kind of the upstart of kind of what essentially small business looks like in terms of detailing locally and stuff. So, Joseph, take it away. How did you start your business?
You know what? Let's start with you. How you start your business?
This guy. Yeah, so I used to be an accountant. Worked over a decade of corporate accounting. Did detailing on the side for over 10 years, and then back in late 23, kind of lost that job. Wanted to get back to accounting, but market wasn't great, and I decided, hey, I made a promise to myself actually years ago in 2016 that I'd give detailing a shot if I ever came to the situation again. So I felt like, why not start something? So I started out in my garage, renovated the garage and stuff like that. Was slow, but into 2025, I knew I needed to have a mobile setup because that's the only way to grow unless you have a shop. I really think that's kind of the future of growing a detail business from the ground up. If you're not gonna have a shop, you gotta go mobile. So did my research, bought a van, had a custom build out of a van, got decals, everything, and kind of worked through there. Met Joseph while I was kind of just starting out, and he's been immensely helpful. Good dude in the local Mississauga, Ontario, Canada region. So yeah, so that's the basics of how I got started. So I'm into kind of the second year of kind of the professional mobile detailing, and it's definitely it's been up and down, but I've enjoyed it, and I like what I do, and so that's like the 5-minute story. I've got other stories, but I'll let Joseph tell his stories. He's been doing this for a little bit longer.
So I started detailing in 2020. Before that, I was a personal trainer and I was in school for kinesiology. So I was a personal trainer for 6 years, and when COVID hit, I decided to change career paths and start my own business, which is why I started Elixir Auto Detailing. Around 2020, that's when I started planning it and getting the skills I needed, what I needed to do to start the business and grow. From there, it's now 2026. I got my mobile rig. I started in 2020 in my sedan in a Toyota Corolla. So I was packing things up and unpacking at clients' locations. Then in 2021, I got my first van, which is my first mobile setup in a Ford Transit Connect van, and that has helped immensely. From there, we've been just growing, making things better, getting better quality, getting faster, getting more efficient, and then now it's 2026, and we're just hopefully we can get a physical shop soon.
Yeah. So what was the hardest thing at the beginning? 'Cause remember you telling me like the first year it was painful but good learning experience. What was the hardest thing?
So I had zero experience in business. I didn't know what I was doing. ChatGPT was not available at that time. So I couldn't even ask this AI system on tips on how to grow or how to start. So, but I'm a big risk taker. I risk everything 100%, and then even if I'll lose everything, I'll risk it. So I bought everything I needed. I went all in. I think I spent about 20 G's in one day just in tools. I wanted to get the best tools, the best products, the best of everything. And then I went all in, then built a website on my own. My first website I built was on Wix. It was terrible, but it worked. And then got a Google page. It was a lot of trial and error. And then I started messaging friends and family, and that's how I started.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I think similarly, I invested quite a bit of capital to be professional. I've seen the detailing business, ups and downs. It's just a very easy business to get to. A lot of young people get into it. No, there's nothing wrong with it, but I do really think that having the right equipment and being professional, having some business kind of background does help in terms of kind of how you should operate essentially. And I see that up and down the line, or in terms of the highest end detailing shops, and kind of just the Joe Schmo, like kind of your neighborhood kind of detailer. The wide range of kind of, I guess, quality and professionalism exists in this industry. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think that, if you look at the fragmented industry and the people that do the best, definitely they have professional level equipment, charged accordingly, and you want to strive to be like the best of the best, because I think that's the only way you can grow, to be honest, because it's very competitive in terms of pricing, but not in quality, in my opinion, in terms of the industry. And so you don't want to make this business, in my opinion, commodity-based business, because then you're competing with the $20 wash in and outs and stuff, and then the people that do it on the side as well. I think if you're just competing on price, it's just a downward spiral. I almost think this is it's sometimes detailing is like a relationship business, because in terms of people that are willing to pay the appropriate prices, I think you have to build relationships with people. So it's not just a commodity. You don't know anybody. I think from my even short experience is building relationships with people is immensely useful and also beneficial for the business, because great word of mouth and just repeat customers. A lot of people, when I did last year, never really had a true detail, and they realized, oh, like this type of service, there is some value into it. They just don't know, right? Most people just go to the small wash shops and stuff like that, and it's cheap, good value, to be honest. But I think it's just they don't understand the value of what you're providing, because you don't really need a professional certification. Everything's information is ever free online in some aspects. But it's just the customer service aspect, I think, is underrated in this industry. Basically, people have to like you, to get business, to stay alive, right?
I think in terms of making money as well, like my first year when I didn't have a professional setup, I didn't have things like a mobile van as a professional setup. I didn't have a structured plan on how to do each vehicle in each car. I didn't make a lot of money. In a Toyota Corolla, I think I made like 10,000 my first year, and I was 20,000 in products and equipment. I remember doing vehicles. I would charge them like $135
Canadian,
for
not US. Canadian
for
after inflation.
Interior detail, and I would take I remember I took 7 hours on this one Mercedes to do an interior detail. And speaking of which, I remember that day. So when you don't have a professional setup, like a generator, your own water tank, it takes time setting up and taking down as well. In addition, when you don't have a generator, when you hook up to people's power, you're only available to, it's about 1,800 watts for that one circuit. So I used to blow their circuit all the time. I was tripping their circuit and asking them to turn it back on, which is not very professional. And that's a downside too, because if you wanted to use a vacuum cleaner and a steamer, or your air compressor and a steamer, you couldn't. You had to use one or the other, which takes up a lot of time and is not very efficient as well.
Yeah, I try to, like when I started, I did spend some money on my van, and I think my mobile setup, including everything, is north of 20,000 or something, and I got a good deal on the van, and I already had some equipment, but the custom build out was well over 10 grand or something like that to put it in. And I think there's immense value. I've had people, comment on the quality of the professional setup, right? Just you have everything there. I can time how fast I can pull out my equipment. Like, I have a time. Like I know it takes about 6 or 7 minutes to get everything out, essentially, for exterior and interior ready to go, and takes maybe like 10 minutes at the end to fully clean up. So like I budget that time, right? If you go into a customer's place, it's kind of hard because like, you have to pull stuff out, and that you're probably doubling the time, your setup time, and that's time is money eventually. And part of why people want to call you for mobile detail is convenience. Like I have had some customers where like, dude went on vacation. He just called me. Like I went to his place, did his car, threw the keys under the garage. He automatically closed the garage, and he wasn't even there. Like trusting me like that at that point, and like it's just super convenient, right? You build that trust with some customers eventually. Like that's what they want. They don't want you to have to hook this up, la da da da. Like it's just like they don't have to be there, right? It's like that's where you can charge higher prices because you're paying for convenience. Everybody pays for convenience. Uber Eats, more expensive. You pay for convenience. But so I think that's kind of the business model where I guess people that have done well like understand where it's like it's not just getting the job done extremely well. It's like the convenience of just having it just they don't have to think about it, right? It's not even just wealthy people or people that can afford detailing. It's just like people that understand there's a value to paying for convenience, and that should be part of the goal in terms of kind of the business mindset of detailing. I think people get caught up in, I guess, doing the job, but not realizing part of the value is not just the job. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's your experience on that?
I would say you're right. Some people think like hiring a mobile detailer, you're getting a better deal or it's cheaper, because it's like someone's coming to your house. You're not coming to a physical shop, but the thing is that it's convenience to the customer. You're going to them. You're spending time going to the customer. You're giving them a convenience where they don't have to go to the shop, wait there for 2-3 hours to get their car detailed,
Or drive back, right?
or take an Uber somewhere or wait somewhere. So it's 2-3 hours of their time. So instead, a lot of people nowadays are work from home. So we bring everything to their location. And if you're a completely mobile detailer, you don't even need for them to open the garage. You just get the key from them, and you start. You have your own power. You have their own water, and at the end of the detail, they're working completely during that time. They don't have to go out through the day or go after work. And at the end of the day, they get a perfectly detailed car. It's still in their driveway, and it's just time saving, convenience. And the people that hire us value that over saving $50 by going to a detail shop for a slightly cheaper rate, but they're trading their time for the money.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
I completely agree. I think sometimes people, even potential customers, don't understand that value because it's funny because I remember I was detailing a customer's car. Somebody came around the neighborhood asking about the services and the pricing. And so I talked with him about the pricing and stuff, and then I could tell he felt like it was a bit more expensive because he was talking about he had another guy some time ago that was doing his cars, and then I asked him, okay, well, what happened to that other guy? This is his exact words, and he still didn't realize what he was telling me, which is very obvious to me if you think about it. He said, "Oh yeah, that guy. He started a shop, and then now he's done it from a shop, so he doesn't do mobile anymore. And then so he doesn't do mobile anymore." And I'm like, "Why?" And his words to me was his guy said, "Oh, like I come out here. It's just it's too little money, not worth the time. So he doesn't do it anymore." Which is crazy to me that he's telling me this story, not understanding that he went out of business because he charged too less and didn't do a fast enough job to make money. So he started a shop Now he doesn't do mobile anymore.
Speaking of which, a lot of people also, when they first start out, they take a long time because they don't have a professional setup. They don't have the reels. They're packing up hoses, unpacking hoses, hooking up, and then they're trying to charge a rate. Let's say they take 500 for 5 hours for that detail because they're packing and unpacking, travel time, and they don't have the right equipment to do the job efficiently. So now they're charging $500 for a job like that. However, however, from my perspective, you should try to, if you're a professional detailer and you're running a professional business, you're not going to go to a car and charge based on your DIY equipment. You're going there, you're doing the job as fast as a professional is going to be doing it, as good as a professional is going to be doing it, and then you're going to charge that similar rate. For me, when I first started, my rates haven't changed dramatically. When I first started, I took a lot longer, but over time, I made it a lot more efficient. From 7 hours, now we're down to less than 2 hours for a detail. So now it means that I'm spending less time on each car and I can get more done. It's easier on my body too because of the equipment that I have. But now I make more money because I'm actually getting the jobs done in a decent amount of time just because I have the professional equipment and the right process in order to do the vehicle. But some people try to match the amount of time when they don't even have the equipment for the job. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know the funny thing is the people that have the. I'm not shitting on these guys because usually they're, newer to the industry because there's nobody that's been in this business that for extended amount of time have DIY stuff. It's not possible. It's not feasible. You're basically paying for to run your own business for a job. Like that's just. It's nonsense, in a nutshell. You might as well go work for someone, right? And a lot of these people that do have DIY stuff, you see them all over social media, all over Instagram. Young guys, they just can't afford it, don't understand it, and stuff. Like, it's the funny part is not only do they take longer, they charge less because the perceived value of what they're doing is less because, like, it's not as fast, not as professional, and you. I know people can argue with me all day about this, but the truth is, if you you look at Florida or kind of maybe like, California, where there's a lot of mobile detailers, and there's some bigger businesses that have multiple vans. All of them have professional setups. There's no DIY stuff because in order to make money, you gotta go through 2-3 a day if you're solo, right? Like
Yeah.
That's the ideal too. If you have a couple guys. Yeah, maybe you can do multiple. You start early. It's a hard job, but
Yeah, so whenever you start this business, it's either you have some capital that you can invest into the business and actually get a professional setup. Maybe you do a few jobs without a professional setup and you're like, okay, this is something I really like doing and I see myself doing it. Then as soon as possible, you get a professional setup because you have capital, or you take a loan from the bank and you invest in your business in order to get the setup going. But otherwise, like, there's a lot of videos where they say, oh, start a mobile detailing business with $500, but you're either gonna not do it anymore, or you have to immediately transition from that 500 just to start and get a feel. That 500 within the first, if you're doing well within the first few weeks or month, you're gonna want a professional mobile setup. So you're either gonna have that capital to have it, or you're gonna do it from your van, from your own personal vehicle, set up and take down, and over time you make some money in order to get that set up, or you just get that loan and you get a professional setup made right away. It's just how much time you want to. You want to spend that time saving up, or do you want to get it right away and make more money during that time?
Yeah, I do think people get into this kind of industry when young, where they have not a lot of capital, thinking it's easy. I mean, maybe not easy, but it's like it's something that it like can lead to something big. My honest truth in being in business for a long time, in corporate finance, working at multi-billion-dollar business, this is a hard industry. It's a very hard industry. You have to really have to understand how you're going to operate in terms of like what you want from it and how you want to scale it, because it's not something easy to grow. But it's something that I think will still be there, because AI is not gonna come and like do mobile detail. It's just not. It is gonna be there. It's one of those jobs that is easy entry, but it's kind of one of those jobs where it's hard to like be really good at, essentially. So it's kind of this conundrum. I see a lot of young people like trying it out and getting burned out, because number one, they don't understand how to get the right tools and learn and grow quickly, because you'll burn out very quickly. It's this is a very hard job to survive in and stuff. So I would always suggest people getting this, just again, start slow. Have another job or something like that. Start slow, build up money, capital, and that's kind of how I started. I had a lot of capital in terms of kind of even just surviving, so I don't have to worry about feeding myself, essentially. I think that's very important, because if you're making business decisions when you can't eat, it's a problem. You want to make decisions where you're not worried about eating. You're just worried about, okay, is this the right path, or essentially, right? And then you have to give yourself enough time to get there before you pivot. That's essentially it. So this type of business where people think it's easy, but it's actually not, and you do need some capital. It's not like where you just spend $500 and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make multiple thousands somewhere. It's not possible unless you're an amazing marketer. And if you're an amazing marketer, you probably do marketing. It makes more money, to be honest. I mean, you wouldn't be doing this, right? So people that are really good at marketing, like aren't really doing this. You can be like, it's funny. A lot of detailers that understand marketing, they move to marketing for other detailers, which is funny to me, because that means you just aren't good enough to build this business, or you just don't love enough that you want to stay in this business. You're just doing marketing.
More money elsewhere.
It's true.
You don't have to buy equipment and stuff. Physical labor.
Yeah, and like people like in terms of detailing, it's like they don't talk about this. They don't talk. The truth is, it's not an industry that if you want to be super rich, you're just gonna dive into. It's just not. It's not where, like, if you're in marketing, you sales and stuff, like, bro, you can do other stuff and make a ton more money. You'll
definitely make more money than working for someone.
At the start.
On average, at the start, on average, let's say like if someone's making came out of university, has been working for a few years, on average, I think if you're a very good detailer and you've been in business for a few years, you'll be making more money than the average citizen. But in general, you're not gonna be a millionaire, with you yourself. But maybe if you had like, I don't know, 5-6 vans and a couple employees, you would make.
You have to scale. You have to actually have to
scale.
Real scale this business. And like, to be honest, it's not just that it's not easy. It's that most people that get into detailing industry have just no background in this. And to be honest, there's no. It's such a fragmented industry. That's why you don't see even private equity or big companies like monopolizing this type of industry, because it's not a lot of money in it, to be honest. And I hate to say that as a detailer, you can still make a good living, and you just enjoy. So part of it is just enjoying what you do, right? Right. And I chose to do this not because I'm making more money than going back to corporate accounting. It's just I actually kind of like this. It's kind of fun,
Yeah, I don't know. There's an enjoyment to it.
There's an
I really enjoy it.
There is an enjoyment to it, and if you don't have to worry about the money aspect of it, at least in the beginning. Again, you have to make money, you have to live. It's nothing wrong with that. It's an enjoyable part of my life right now, and I'm happy that I'm doing it. So anybody that likes this, keep that in mind. Like not all life is about making the most amount of money. Sometimes make money first and then do what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, where like I think that's part of it. So I think not a lot of detailers talk about that. Everybody's like, oh, you can make so much money. Like that's not the truth. Like, Instagram, social media,
Yeah.
you have these semi-successful mobile detailers, one or two, like they're making decent money. Okay, they're making decent money, but trust me, if you're really good at other skills and stuff like that, that shit's nothing. That shit's nothing. Like,
I would say the detailers on YouTube or TikTok making videos, they're not as busy as you think they are.
I don't think so. Even the ones that have like 3 vans or something like that.
No,
like,
even the ones that are like, I don't know, they have like 300,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
They make most of their money on these videos, and they spend like 5-6 hours on that one vehicle to make that video, and they're more of a YouTuber than a detailer.
They become more YouTube content creators.
Yeah.
And this YouTuber Instagram, Unique Detailing, I started following him a couple years ago. Love his stuff, but now he's like selling like mentorship, which like every single like successful like kind of actual not like Cars Are Key where they do reviews and stuff like that.
But that's
right?
good in a way, but it's more mentorship to be a YouTuber rather than mentorship to be a professional detailer running a professional detailing business. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's more like mentorship, and they teach you how to make videos. It's just a little bit different. It's just different.
I do agree. Social media, you need social media as a detailer to grow, to have some basically proof of your work. It is very important. I think the marketing aspect. If you're going to be a detailer, you're a business owner first, essentially. So you have to market your services. I do agree, but I see some people like they do detailing for a couple years and stuff like that. Now they're just they do marketing and stuff like that, and I'm like, bro, you didn't even do well in your detailing. How are you gonna market? And I see them
You didn't get to the point where you peaked.
Yeah,
where you went through, where you know everything. You didn't get to that point yet, and then now, but you know enough to make these videos.
Yeah, and even I got annoyed with this one dude because he's shooting a video and he's using a brush for the interior panels. I'm like, bro, maybe for the crevices, but you're not brushing this stuff if you're actually doing it. It's great for social media. Nobody that does it efficiently uses a brush for the whole pan. That's crazy. It's a waste of time.
It's a YouTube thing.
It is a
video.
YouTube.
It's a
It
video
looks
thing.
great. It looks good.
It looks good. I used to do that too.
Yeah. You start off.
I've made a few videos like that.
You start off. You do brush everything, but the truth is, brush the most is the crevices, and then I throw that shit away, and then and use a big ass scrub pad or just wipe down with a microfiber. Unless it's some heavy duty stuff. Nobody's using brushes unless it's delicate corner crevices like that. It's a waste of time. I barely use brushes unless it's for like really like crevices that you actually have to get into. Then you can use a brush, but even then you can scrub past and get in the corner and stuff like that. Large ones. I use a fucking big scrub. I don't use the small ones. I don't use the ones that people see on social media where it's just like the ninja scrub pad. I use what is a PNS kickback. This thing is a fucking like block, bro. It's
efficiency.
Yeah, it's a block. It's like the size of 2 of my hands together. So I'm going through I don't need a tiny little brush. This is the problem with social media sometimes when people see details. It is sometimes for social media, and it is good because it's cool. It's cool. It looks cool. People say, oh, you're doing that. I'm like,
satisfying. It's satisfying.
It's ASMR. ASMR. But this is what I learned actually when I first started, because I was taking just as long. Right? I remember a job that was trash. $150. It took me 6 hours to get it to a level where I thought it was good. To a level where I felt was happy with, but that's not worth my time and money. I know I never make any money on doing that shit. So I realized I needed to change the process, use different chemicals and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. The truth is your process will evolve, and there's no like certification for detailing. Everybody's process is a little bit different in a nutshell, but I think you have to look at how much time you're spending and then just cut down on the areas that you can cut down and do multiple things at once, not walk around. I've learned a few things from watching YouTubers. They give a few good pointers, right? Don't walk around too much, don't switch tools too much, right? Do everything at once. I think this is a good tip that Joseph gave me. When you bring out like the big tools, like if you need an extractor or a steamer, do all of it at once and then get rid of it and then come back. And that
Yeah.
takes experience knowing what to do all at once.
Yeah,
Because
it
sometimes you
takes
have
a
to
little-
come back,
Yeah,
right?
it takes a little experience.
Yeah, sometimes you have to come back. Oh, this shit's not. This just
Yeah.
it's done. I have to do it again, right? That's the worst. Like, going back and doing shit again. That's the absolute worst.
Yeah, that's the killer.
I hate that where you have to go back and you're like, oh my god, I could do this again. Like that adds 10 minutes of time basically to like a small area and stuff like that. But sometimes you need to do it because like that's like if you charge the right prices, you kind of have to do it. But you learn learn like some areas require more attention initially, so you don't skip out because you have to come back and fix it again and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Essentially, I think that's the worst part of interiors. I don't like interiors as much as Joseph. I like exteriors. That's my thing. But like I'm more of a paint work
Yeah,
guy.
I love interiors.
This guy's a machine. This guy's a machine.
I love my interiors. I get the most satisfaction, most efficient in interiors.
Yeah. So how has your process changed over the course of time in terms of interiors as you love them?
I think the biggest changes that I've made were for, let's say, I don't do a lot of upholstery anymore. So like, I do a lot more middle to high end vehicles since I started. So my first two or 3 years, I did a lot of upholstery. Sometimes I did 200 cars with upholstery in a year.
I hate upholstery.
So like Honda Civics, like 2003 Honda Civics.
Oh, gross.
So all those upholstery vehicles, and so I used to have a different chemical. Like let's say, I remember using at one point Carpet Bomber.
Everybody
the
uses
three,
Carpet
yeah,
Bomber.
Carpet
Everybody
Bomber.
uses- all the YouTubers tell you to use
Terminator
that shit.
and Finisher Peroxide by PNS, and that takes so long. That's a DIY system. In general, that's a DIY system. I had an extractor. I didn't have a hot water extractor at the time, but I had an extractor. And the reason why it takes so long is because you're applying multiple chemicals over the seating, and then also you're brushing the surface. They're requiring you to agitate the surface. So I did that for the upholstery and I did that for carpeting, and that takes extremely long time. I would take maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours just to get that done. Nowadays, nowadays I talk to industry specialists in order to get tips and tricks from them. So one guy, I got my upholstery and my carpet cleaning process from this guy called Kenny Causeway from Causeway Supply. So he's a carpet cleaner and carpet and upholstery cleaner, and that's his entire job. Now he runs he just sells equipment. So I bought my Mighty from him. My Mighty, what's it called? 1800?
I think it was 80. It's 81. I think
8100?
I think it's 8100.
Yeah, it's like the
right.
general, the auto
Yeah, the
detailing
general auto
Mighty
detailing
heated
right,
extractor.
right.
And so I use something, it's called a pre-spray. I don't agitate anymore. I don't agitate anything. I spray with a pump sprayer. So with a trigger sprayer, you're not getting even coverage, but with a pump sprayer, it's a big fan and you get even coverage over seating, over carpeting, completely. And then what you do is you want to put an acid rinse in your extractor so that you're not spraying again, but you are actually just, when you're extracting, when the hot water is coming out, it's actually neutralizing the pre-spray. So you spray the pre-spray, you wait about 15 minutes, and then you extract. And I don't agitate anymore. I just vacuum, spray the pre-spray, extract it with the acid neutralizer, and I'm done. So that cut down a lot of time on chemicals, because the chemical that I'm using now is a lot more dilutable than Carpet Bomber, and I don't spray a Finisher Peroxide to neutralize anymore. It's part of the extraction process. So that saves me probably the most time.
Yeah, I would say Joseph's got a really good precedent in terms of upholstery and carpeting. He's really good with that. I don't use an extractor a lot, but I should for some jobs, and I gotta rework the van a little bit to fit like maybe a small mosquito spotter or something like that. But you don't necessarily need, but it is important to have that in your arsenal. I do extract using kind of my Johnny vac when I need to for kind of like the carpeting when necessary. Again, my process is a little different. Still works, but for some situations, an extractor would be immensely useful. For certain, to be honest, I try to stay away from jobs that require it because it's a pain in the ass. To be honest, you almost don't want to take a lot of those jobs because like. To be honest, again, pulling out equipment and shit like that, it's a lot of time, a lot of fucking, and sometimes it doesn't come out like perfect. It comes out good, but like, so the ideal is you don't want, in an ideal business sense, you don't want that to be in a regular customer. There's a truth because you should be charging more for those. To be honest, because they're a bit more pain in the ass.
I do charge more for upholstery.
Yeah.
And personally, you don't want that to be a regular customer. When you have to whip out the extractor, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I know that I think you started using vacuum cap.
Yeah, so
did I introduce you to a vacuum cap?
No. I got that from what's it called? Actually, I'll give Wilson Auto Detailing a shout out. I watched one of his vids. He suggested using that because it's a professional carpet cleaning solution. It fucking works, dude. It works. It's actually quite effective in terms of that, and also lips of static, and also it allows you to even pick up like the grime because it encapsulates some of the grime so that when you blow it, vacuum it up, it's much easier. Like so, I use an encapsulating carpet cleaner as my pre-spray, and that does 90% of what I need, generally speaking. Sometimes some stains need some like more concentrated chemicals. I'll spray some extra, but it works well. It works well for the blowout, for the vacuum. Like you can even do a secondary spray of it.
Like a pre-spray is a high pH or high acid cleaner, so it's actually it's very good at cleaning. But most people don't need something like that. And so something like a vacuum cap is just a pH neutral cleaner. And at the end, it's the same thing as an encapsulation technology. And then at the end, it turns into actually like dust. Once it's actually dried, it turns into dust. So you just do a final vac at the end. So I use both chemicals. I use vacuum cap and a pre-spray. It just depends on how dirty your vehicle is. And once you use vacuum cap, if you use vacuum cap, it saves you so much time on cars that don't need an extractor, because you don't need an extractor with vacuum cap. You just spray, you brush it a little bit, you maybe even with your microfiber, and then you vacuum at the end when it's dried out.
Right? Yeah, I would say that saved me a lot of time in terms of carpeting. If you pre-spray and then I'm a big kind of fan of the air compressor, Tornador style blower guns and stuff like that. Like I've used it so much, I'm very good at utilizing those tools in terms of moving kind of the main grime, dust, dirt out of the kind of the interior of the carpets with the pre-spray. So that really helps loosen, and it makes your vacuum a lot easier. So my process sometimes, like, I don't even use a vacuum until the very end. I think actually, if you can, you just don't vacuum until the end. Like, just do it once, because every time you use the blower, some shit's gonna come up and you're gonna have to kind of finish off. So it's almost like if you can get it to vac where you only have to vacuum once, and the car's not, maybe it's like
if you can vacuum once.
That's it. Yeah, and you vacuum at the
possible.
end. If you can just vacuum it at the end, that's great. Or just do a quick pickup on the like the excess stuff. Sometimes you do on the quick. Make it 30 seconds, and then don't touch the vacuum until the very end. That saves a lot of time, because you always have to vacuum at the end. Always have to vacuum. Yeah, so if you're gonna do all of that at the end, you might as well just save like everything at the end.
But that's rare. It's only for a very clean car.
For cleaner cars, yeah, I would agree. Usually, you want at least, I try to keep your process like you vacuum twice, basically.
Yeah.
And then if you vacuum 3 times, then you got some problems. So maybe it's extra dirty, or the process isn't clean cut, or maybe you miss blowing out the crevices. The one thing if you miss blowing out the crevices and you find out at the
you're
end,
screwed.
oh man, you got to go blow it out and vacuum
yeah.
again, and then it becomes everywhere, and it's a nightmare. So you almost want to vacuum as little as possible until you know it's like you're picking up everything you should have.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, every blowout, I remember, you're gonna have to, some shit's gonna come out. And so like you really want to get the excess, especially behind the seat rails if you're not taking out the seats, which 99% of the time you don't need to, or just in between the crevice of the seat. I hate those. Right?
So Charles, so we're going into 20. So in Canada, we only work pretty much 6 to 7 months in the year. Pretty much we work from end of. You can work at the start of April, but it's kind of cold still, and it's windy, and it's not pleasant. So typically, I start working mid to end of April, up till maybe mid November. So we only have about 7 months, 6 to 7 months of actual working time for detailing in Canada. What do you have planned for 2026?
I think the for 2026 is utilizing your contacts that your current customers that you did do, and then giving them a discount to book early. That's the best thing. The earlier they book, the more revenue you can get in. Give them as much of a discount as it makes it worth when it's early. Spend a little bit of money on advertising. Essentially, I think really front loading that and showing loyalty where loyalty is due is really important. That's kind of my plan. I'm going to send personalized messages out before April 1st, which is where I think I'm going to start full out and open up my mobile service. You should be able to do that in Canada. And then I want to get all my good customers in April, so that you get them in, and then you get them at least once or two before another season, right? Most people, maybe at most do twice a year. But if you have, repeat customers, perfect. You can get them more times. But you get them earlier, the more chance they get dirty, you can get it another time. If you get them in the middle of the year, you might not get them in the later year. I think that's important. And I think just maintaining quality. Again, I'm big on Google reviews, even though I got some scam reviews dropping a couple. I had 2 in a row where it just fake reviews. But again, you don't worry about those in a nutshell. But you got to ask for reviews. I think another thing people don't talk about is your social media presence is important. So taking the time to kind of put videos out and stuff like that, making them efficient. I think it is important to an aspect, so that proof of product, service, essentially, that you are what you are, and you actually do work, right? It's not just some random Joe Schmo, right? You see all kinds of Joe Schmoes open up kind of social media accounts for detailing, and they never last, right? Because there's never any consistency, and even for myself, sometimes I'm not consistent. Right?
It's tough. It's tough.
It's tough. It's
tough. It's tough.
Like I said, it's a tough industry. It's a tough job. You have to I wouldn't suggest people go into this unless you kind of really like doing this and stuff. The job's not going away anytime soon with AI, I would say, but it's never been an industry that is easy to kind of scale.
But there are people making a ton of money.
Yeah. But I want to preface that, because the real money, it's unfortunate. Real money is actually in higher end services. The unfortunate thing about it is when you talk about actual detailing and cleaning cars, there's not a ton of money in that per se in terms of the effort, the ROI on your effort. The actual money is working on higher end vehicles, not for detailing, but higher end services. That's where hiring PPF, wraps, and kind of ceramic coatings for higher end vehicles, and maybe kind of commercial work, basically, a fleet and stuff like that. That's where some of the money, maybe working in dealerships. Joseph's worked on a dealership. You can talk about it.
I like dealership work. So I don't like. My favorite thing is dealership work, and then everything else. I don't like coatings or anything.
I like coatings, but I actually like paint correction. I like do that, and I think I'd rather do that one. I'd rather do one a day by myself than having go through a couple details, slaving it out in the sun. That's just my personal preference, but it is what it is. But yeah, about dealership work, I think Joseph's approach. I think your situation is a bit more unique because most dealership work is shit. Most dealership work is shit. But I think that's because most detailers aren't good at conveying value in terms of what they're offering, and then the dealerships are looking for the cheapest thing possible. So if you're not conveying the value that you're providing, then they're going to go for the cheapest thing possible in a nutshell. But I think if you convey value, then you can actually make it that charge enough where it's actually beneficial enough for you to do dealership work. So you can comment on that.
I don't know about that. I think dealership work is more like, okay, it's not really the value. It's more like, okay, if they need to get a certain amount of cars done, can you get them done? That's essentially it. It's like they're hiring you to get they're hiring you not because they need you to do some crazy ceramic coating or paint correction on a vehicle, or they need you to do X, Y, and Z that no one else can do. Detailing is detailing. Like, there's probably another person who can do it, another company that can do it. And it's not some like magical, that guy is the only one who can do it. Yeah. It's more like you just build a relationship with the manager, the used car manager or the warranty manager, and he trusts you that when he needs you, you'll pull through in order to get that. It's essentially the excess vehicle. So they have their detailers in the dealership, but then sometimes they get so many vehicles that they aren't able to detail them fast enough to get them to get pictures of them in order to put them out for sale. So let's say they have an excess of 20, 30 vehicles, they need to get them done, and they need to have someone that is trustworthy enough to, whereas if they need to get it done, you're there. You can get it done in the next 2 or 3 days. So I like dealership work in the sense that I'm not talking to another customer and convincing him to get another X, Y, and Z detail from me. I just get ringed up and we go. There's no arguments. I know what I'm doing. I go to the location and I always know what is to be expected. That's why I like dealership work. It's very consistent. You don't have to talk to anyone. It's just you book it and go.
Yeah, I think this goes back to the point where having professional equipment helps, because you're doing dealership work.
Gotta be fast.
You gotta be fast. You can't be shit, but it doesn't need to be kind of upper echelon in terms of every corner completely pristine. They're not gonna pay you for that. But you gotta be fast and efficient, and like basically think of it from a business side, right? Like if I'm gonna purchase this car, what am I looking at? So the spots that customers are looking at, you gotta be like top notch.
Yeah, the spots that people are looking at. So you
gotta think of it that way.
Yeah. You gotta make it presentable for sale, for pictures.
And that's a little different from like getting a nice detail where you as a professional should be looking at crevices that your customers aren't looking at, because that's part of what they should be paying for. But for dealership work, I would say yes. What are the spots that the customer is going to look at to buy the car? Those need to be really pretty good, and the rest areas it doesn't need to be mint. Like it needs to be good enough where it passes the eye test.
I don't know. For me, whenever I do a dealership car, it's pretty much like 95%. It's essentially when you open the door, it looks perfect, but then it's only when you're in the car driving it for day after day, you're like, like you'll notice like a dirty spot. But in general, if you look at it after we've detailed it, if you just open it, it's perfect. You know what I mean?
It also depends on the dealership, because if I worked for in first year for a shitty used car dealership in North York, and their cars are trash.
Yeah, you can't do a used car dealership. You need a big box dealership.
And then like they pay me shit. I took forever on the cars. Cars were complete trash and stuff like that. And I tried to get every car perfect just because at least they were consistent revenue at the time, and it was a good learning experience. It was shit work, good learning experience. I would have made more money working at McDonald's, but like the truth is, it was a good learning experience. But I wouldn't go do that again, and that's why people think dealership work is terrible. You kind of have to pick and choose the ones, because if you get a higher end dealership, the cars usually aren't as bad. You kind of like, you give and take. Some are worse than others, but I would say from my experience, those cars could be done in a very reasonable amount of time, like very consistently, or like one car faster and another car a little slower. But and then you can get to the point where it's like it's very presentable and you're good. You're good. Like it's sellable, and that's kind of what they're paying for. That's all. That's all it is, right? Again, that's why. You generally need you need a water tank. You need a generator. You need to be kind of mobile.
You need to be mobile because you're doing it outside. You're not doing it in the bays. They have details in the bay.
Yeah.
And you're doing the access, so you probably do need. And if you want like a tent as well, it makes it easier. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's where like I do think another source of revenue. I think that it is beneficial, and I should probably call some higher end dealerships.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Get a high end dealership.
Yeah, or a used car dealership.
No used car, no mom and pop. Like those are the worst.
The ones that sell.
Ones that sell
nicer cars, I think is okay.
The ones that sell like, big box dealerships like Toyota, Honda, Kia, whatever. Those are the best that have a very high amount of used cars that they sell. Those are the best dealers. And man, if I could get just like two, I used to have two. Now I'm at one.
What's the other one? What's the other one?
I had Toyota, East Brampton Toyota.
Oh, what happened? You told me that one.
Switch managers, and the new guy didn't like me for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I barely talked to him.
Okay.
So if I can get another one, if I can get three, oh man, like that would be ideal.
Ideal.
That would be ideal. I wouldn't even work. I'll just train someone and they can go and do it. It's just the jobs are very similar. So you just train someone and they can do it.
Yeah,
I would do that.
I would say then like you can just dedicate a specific like a van employee to that one.
Yeah.
I think that would be and that's kind of how you would scale from a solopreneur or something like that. So there is that opportunity. And while the economy isn't great in Canada right now, it's not dead. It's not impossible. But it is a tough industry. I would say. I think getting into niche markets with, I guess, quality and professionalism, there's some value to that. I would say because there's not a lot of kind of great mobile details in terms of like, do they have a professional setup? Are they been doing this for a while where like people can trust you? And just generally, you don't look like you're just working on the weekend type of guy, right?
Yeah.
Like those
professionalism.
Those guys don't get hired back. Let's be honest, they don't.
Yeah.
Like the guys that are charging like $100 for something like that. Trust me, they don't get hired back. Like, and if they do, it's because the other people are desperate, and those customers, you don't really want those customers. Those are probably better. Those customers probably get better value out the in and outs. To be honest, they get better value. I would say, and then like eventually they go out of business. Because again, I talked to a lot of people. I talked to this other woman like actually earlier this year, and I was a little bit out. I gave her an okay discount. It was a little bit out of her normal budget. I asked her, hey, what happened to the other detail shop that you were using? And it's like, oh yeah, I used to go to the other detail shop, but they don't exist anymore.
Oh, they're gone?
Yeah, they're gone. I'm like, well, because they didn't charge enough, and that's
sometimes it's just not possible to give a discount.
Yeah, like and that's where people I get lost. Even customers, they don't really understand. Like, that's why they don't exist, because they didn't charge enough. And if they didn't charge enough, it means even what they were charging, they weren't doing a good enough job that people would want to come back to that. That's a second thing, because it's like people pay and they get incredible value, they'll come back, right?
Yeah.
Right. So not only were they charging cheap, they were doing a cheap job where people didn't see value in that cheap job, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the industry in a nutshell. Sometimes, trying to race to the bottom because it's an easy industry to get into, but I think very few survive because they just don't have either the patience or kind of like the focus on kind of like what is your value proposition to the customer in a nutshell, right? Right. If you don't have that understanding, then you're just like you're chasing after things that don't matter. And I think that's really important. Like what is the customer value, right? Because I had another customer say where like, you know, he's looking for a mobile guy or some detail, and then his biggest gripe was that, you know, he talks to all these other guys that are a little bit cheaper, right? But like, he says like, the communication is just bad. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
you never know if they're gonna show. You never know like how to talk with them. Like they just, and I think that's part of it, right? A lot of these people that are cheap, like it's like it's almost sometimes they know it's almost not worth their time.
Yeah, they know it's not worth their time.
It's almost they know worth their
Yeah.
time, so they don't really care that much to communicate properly. Like I think the best thing is like you tell them, hey, I'm gonna be on this time here, and I'm there, or you're like, okay, I'm running a few minutes late, I'll be there. Like, but like, is that communication aspect of professionalism that is like, kind of like, you know, for like the cheaper people, like you get a sense like it's just not.
Yeah.
It's not there, and then people like, I don't really want to pay for this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the difference between a professional, it's not professional detail in the sense of the skill, but it's just being a professional, you know, someone who's professional in everything they do, you know?
Yeah, I think, you know, even, you know, reading on the you know, the Facebook groups and stuff like that, and the forums, and you see like the back and forth between customers and the detailer, and I could already see how the detailers respond. I'm like, this is just a very not a way
professional
to respond, right? It's
pretty rude. It's like
it's not even just
rude.
rude. It seems very kind of juvenile, like
Yeah.
in a nutshell.
Like little kids talking.
Yeah, it's just like the juvenile responses or something like that. And unless you're like friends to become friends with your customers and stuff, it's not a way to respond to new customers, right? And it kind of irks me because it's just like why are you guys responding in this way?
Mm-hmm.
It's very like kind of childish. Like you don't seem like a professional. I don't have an exact example in my mind, but I'm sure, you know, people have seen different responses. It feels like there's no goal to like the response. It just seems like a level of kind of desperation. I think. I think. But I mean,
Not enough experience.
yeah. I mean, I can definitely attest to, you know, holding on to your pricing and your value, because you know, I did a job, like the last job I did, it's been a bit, when this guy called me, I almost didn't want to do it because you know, I gave him my price, and then he wanted to negotiate with me, and I you know, I just was straight up, you know, hey, I appreciate you calling me, but like, hey, you know, my price is the price. If you can raise your budget a little bit more, you know, you call me back. If not, I'm sure there's other people that can help you. He just said, all right, okay, cool, and then I did the job. I'm like, that honestly, that was one of the first times that somebody that where I just cut I didn't even try to explain it. Like I'm just like, hey, I know I'm not at your budget, but you know, maybe if you want to raise your budget.
You don't fight it. You don't fight it.
Yeah, you know, I just be like, I'm not trying to explain, and just be like, hey, you know, basically no, right? Like,
Yeah.
And then he eventually came in, and he's like, yeah, okay, and then I did a good job, and he was happy with it, and then like, you know, I've had instances and every detailer that starts their business that are kind of like non-shop based because they think you're like really, they can push you around and stuff like that. That's the problem. Like people think they can push you around. They will always try to negotiate price. Biggest problem.
No, I've not experienced that anymore.
Yeah,
I think I don't know. I don't experience what you're experiencing, man.
Well, I'm a little newer,
Yeah.
and I get calls from people sometime, and you have to sound confident, and you have to be like, hey, you know, this is my price, this is value, and also be able to give that up in a nutshell.
I think when every single aspect of your business looks professional, like your website, your Google business page, all your social media, everything, your voicemail, the way you talk is professional. I have not experienced that anymore. Like I don't experience people like asking for discounts is very rare. I don't.
You also don't take
experience-
calls anymore.
I do take calls. I do take
He
calls.
doesn't respond.
I missed a lot, but I do take calls. I'm not like the biggest detailer, but busy enough where it's kind of hard booking. Like there's an overflow, but that's why I give you so many jobs.
Yeah, I
Like,
appreciate it.
didn't-
I appreciate it.
you know,
He
like
can't even take
every
some
day,
of them.
everything I send. But then like, I don't experience that. No one, actually nowadays when people call, they seem like a little bit nervous calling.
Why are they nervous?
I don't know. When I pick up, they're like, so I was looking through your website and they're like nervous asking me to hire me. You know,
He's a scary guy, right?
like it's not. Yeah, I don't know. They just seem like, oh shit, they're asking a business. You know, it's not just some random dude. So yeah, it's fun. I remember in the beginning, I used to get a lot of like, a lot of people asking for discounts, and now, I think for the last 2.5 years, I don't think I've ever got that.
Yeah.
It's very rare where I don't.
My
remember.
policy on that is reward loyalty with loyalty. So if they're your past customers, they're actual past customers, it's okay to give them like small discounts and stuff. But if they're a new customer and stuff like that, generally speaking, it's probably not a good idea because like they're. There's Hormozy puts it a certain way. You know, they're basically they're the price terrorists. They're price terrorists. They're terrorizing your business basically, right? Like it's like you don't negotiate price. You can negotiate a service level. So if they want something cheaper, you can give them cheaper stuff if that's what you want. Like you do less.
It's hard. It's hard on a.
This is the problem. This is the problem.
Detailing service, it's hard.
This is exactly.
And it's hard to explain, but it's just. It's like, do you vacuum 50%? It's like it doesn't make sense.
This is why I have tried to adopt like full details or maintenance for your previous customers only because you just number one, you can't do a good job if they want partials, and it never comes out as well as you can. Only for people that I kind of know and stuff like that, and they kind of understand, and you have a summer relationship. I could maybe do, but for like randoms and stuff, I would say that's just it's a bad idea, like in general, and that's why you want to be able to eat those losses or not like those non-revenue things because like it's just generally not a good idea. But here's one aspect I would say if you're starting out and stuff like that. Don't give discounts. Just be a little bit cheaper. I would say just that as a start. But you have to get something in return for being cheaper. And if that is reviews, you have to get them. Like you have to get social media presence. If you're
when you start,
exactly.
Definitely
Exactly. So if basically you give them a discount, basically for a cheaper price, if you're cheaper and stuff like that.
But it's not like you're trading it. It's like you actually did a good job and they want to give you a discount. But in the beginning, definitely reviews are so important. No matter what, I think actually no matter what, reviews are super important. But in the beginning, if you can be like give a discount for a review, that would be a deal. I don't even think I've asked for a review in 2 years, but
that's a mistake. But.
Yeah, it is a mistake. I think I haven't asked for a review in a while, but I should. But I would never trade a service for a review anymore. It's just
I wouldn't say once you get a point you may not need to do that, but I would say you definitely should ask every new customer for a review, and especially the new ones that you are cheaper on because. This is how you balance it out, right? You're cheaper because they're giving you the chance of doing a job that another professional could do just as good that are guaranteed work. That's part of it. That's a risk that people take on newer professionals, right? Because they're risking their time and money on a job that maybe they don't have as much confidence that you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
That's why you're cheaper. That's okay as you're building a business. But in return, if you do a good job, you should be rewarded with the I guess compensation of a professional, but maybe you can't get it right now. That's okay because you can maybe get a review, so that stacks your basically your not only your presence but your kind of reputation in the future. So you're trading that a little bit in essence, and I think that's okay. But once you kind of establish yourself, you should raise your prices to what a professional should be, so that you're eaten, and that what the market should demand. Or even if you're really just better, you should be a premium. And this is one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand as well. But the way to make money, the easiest way to make money in terms of a target market of customers is serve the wealthy. Like charge high prices and just do less and serve the wealthy. Like be in that kind of atmosphere, right?
It is a
like,
luxury
yeah,
service.
yeah, but like don't just be luxury. Be like fucking high end, right?
Yeah.
Like like super high. And there are people that have enough money where you just need to be more timely in terms of getting those customers. They're harder customers to get, but once you start getting them, they're much more profitable than like kind of the middle. Because like the truth is, either you serve the high end customers, you do less but more for a smaller set of people. That's where you can make money. Or you serve the masses that are really cheap because you get the volume, right? The middle is where you go to die, essentially. The middle is where you go to disappear, essentially, in a nutshell. Not that you say you can't have a relatively successful business, but I think, in terms of your ROI and what your perspective on trying to do well in any business, I think the middle is kind of where you're commodity. And that's kind of an issue with this thing. You don't want to be a commodity, essentially, with a service-based industry. And I like to give the analogy to people when sometimes when I'm feeling it about in terms of pricing. I like to give the analogy that's very easily understandable. Actually, it's like, hey, when your sink is clogged, you can call a handyman or a plumber. Which one do you think is more expensive?
The plumber.
Exactly. The people know. I'm like, yeah, I prefer certified. They guarantee it. Because you know what? The truth is, I did the exact opposite. I didn't really know, but my sink was clogged. I hired a handyman. I paid them to do nothing, and then I hired a plumber to fix it.
Yeah.
I should just hire a plumber.
It's peace of mind. He
Yeah,
knows what he's doing.
exactly. So sometimes when people ask me, I just give them an example. I give them that analogy. I'm like, okay, if your sink is clogged, do you hire a plumber or a handyman? Because both can technically do the job, but the plumber is more expensive. I'm the plumber. Make sense? Most people understand that analogy. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why. They understand because all these kind of Joe Schmo DIY people, they're handymen. They're handy women, handy whatever what you want to call, right? They can do kind of a bit of everything and stuff, but like they're not really in it. And if you're a real professional certified plumber, you have professional level equipment. Like they bring out the big stuff. Because even when I had the handy person come in, they had a Ryobi kind of equipment. I'm like, no professional has Ryobi, man.
Professional, and then there's
like that's DIY. I'm like, bro, I knew it. Like I knew it. I was like,
professional will have anything is can be done.
Yeah.
Anything. There's nothing they can't do.
Yeah.
But any closing remarks?
Closing remarks. I would say. The closing remarks for podcast number 1 is always keep improving. Like even if your process is good, I actually love trying new shit and see if it works. I have a bunch of fucking random junk I've bought. I mean, you probably like not everything is
so
working.
much random shit. Yeah.
Some of it works and some of it's niche and it might be effective, but it won't be in every situation.
No, I think it was good. Like some of it was like. You always grow, but some of it was good at that time.
Yeah.
And then when you grow, it you just outgrow it.
Yeah, I do agree. I've switched to different tools and stuff like that, different trials, different things, and there's some things I'll keep like for niche industries, and some things I won't, and then some things I'm like, I don't really need this.
Yeah.
It's kind of unnecessary.
Nothing is wrong. You're just growing. That's it.
Yeah. So
Nothing's wrong. You're just growing.
That's your closing remarks. Thanks, guys. Hope you guys like this, and we'll do episode 2 next week.